everybody. I am putting together this video, which is going to be kind of a tutorial of how to invoice and process purchase orders through QuickBooks Online. So this is going to be kind of like a quick and dirty type of thing because this is mostly geared towards my clients, so people who have an established relationship with me who can ask questions and point things out. It's going to be a pretty casual time, so yeah, please let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully someday, eventually, I'm going to have something a little bit more in-depth and more detailed and more geared towards people who have no real basis of this, and a little bit more like, you know, professionally produced, but as of right now, it's going to be a little bit more stream of consciousness. My goal is that there should be, in the description of this video, there should be timestamps to help you navigate where to go based on what you need. And assuming that you are a client that I have sent this to, I would imagine that I would have included the applicable timestamps for you in some sort of email or however I sent this to you. So yeah, I guess with that we will get started. So I'm going to just walk through like the full process first. So we're going to imagine that we just, you know, signed a new client. We've gone through all of the, you know, the whole process. We have now established, and it's now time to collect some cash from this client. So obviously all of my designers have kind of different ways that they go about collecting money and invoicing. Generally, it's going to start off with either a deposit, a retainer, or a client prepayment. So what I mean by each of those is deposit is you know exactly how much everything is going to cost regarding, you know, usually regarding tangibles. And say you make your clients put a 50% deposit down and then they pay the rest once everything is received. That's what I mean by deposit. Retainer means we've kind of estimated how much we think that the project is going to be, and we ask our client to send us $50K, and we will continue to use up that $50K as time goes on, and you know, they'll re-up that amount that's sitting in their account as a retainer. And then by client prepayment, I mean that we know exactly, you know, all of the tangibles that we'll be ordering, and we know that it's going to cost $2,000, and we know that our markup is going to be 50%, so we are going to invoice them $3,000 because we know that's how much it's going to cost. And you know, maybe you have a final invoice after you know about shipping, etc., etc. But that's what I mean by a customer or client prepayment, is that we know how much we're charging and we're asking for the full amount up front, and then we will go ahead and order their products. So all three of those things we are going to invoice the same way. It might be called different things, but functionally we're going to invoice them the same way. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to New, we're going to go to Invoice, and let's see, our customer, let's say we're going to enter in a new customer. So this new customer is going to be named Sammy Jones. So when you're entering a new customer, what I generally recommend is adding their email, especially if you're using QuickBooks Online as like your invoicing, which presumably you are if you're watching this video. So you want to make sure that you're putting an email to email this to your client. So this person is sammy@gmail.com. That's going to be their email. You can put in kind of as much or as little as you want. But like I said, I definitely recommend email. I also would highly recommend address because that is going to feed into your sales tax. So this person lives at 1234 Main Street, Princeton, New Jersey, info that you can put in there if you would like, but the 3 kind of required are name, address, and email. So we're going to go ahead and save that. Excellent. So we've got Sammy up in here. So now what we're going to do is there should be some sort of product called retainer, deposit, prepayment, whatever functions for you. That's what this is going to be called. So if you're my client and you don't know what this is called, let me know. If I don't have it set up, I will set it up for you. But it should be set up for you. Also, one thing that I should mention is that we're going to collect the full amount. We're not going to label it as taxable, because even if it includes tax, so for example, like I said, let's say you're charging $3,000 for furniture, and you know that furniture is going to be taxable. So we're just going to call it a 10% tax because that's easy for my brain. So we know that we're going to charge our client $3,000 of product and $300 of sales tax. So altogether the invoice should be $3,300. But because we're not actually, we haven't ordered the product yet, we're only collecting the money for the product. It's not actually a product purchase quite yet. And if we do it this way, if we collect the full $3,300 under a client prepayment, then it makes it easier down the line to track what has and hasn't been fulfilled. So what I would ask you to do is, rather than breaking it out as $3,000 plus 10% tax, $300 of tax, I guess this says 8%, but math. What we're going to do is just collect the full amount right now. So however you want to add this up, so like, it's all going to depend on how you want this to come across to your client. So if your client is like dead set on having each thing itemized in this prepayment, deposit, retainer situation, you can absolutely itemize everything and just put the product / service as retainer, deposit, prepayment, whichever it's called for you. You can itemize it that way and put the description in the description. And then, so say for example, we've got, let's say we have a table that's going to be $1,000. So that's 1K plus 10% tax. And so this is we would put this as $1,100. But for the sake of ease, and then I was going to say, and then for the next item, we're going to do retainer, and then we're going to do light fixture, and this is also 1K plus 10% tax. So you can put the description however the heck you want to put the description. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is making sure that we have the product / service to be retainer, deposit, prepayment, like I said, whichever it is for you, and that we're not collecting tax on this amount, that this amount includes taxes. And we will later figure out separate out the taxes, but for now we're collecting the cash as a prepayment and we're not paying sales tax on it because it's not something that we have fulfilled yet. So that's that. For sake of ease, I am going to make this all into one big old cash grab. And we're just going to say this is going to be a retainer for sake of illustration. So we're going to do retainer for living room redesign. Okay, and this is going to be going to say $10,000, and that's going to include all of the, the whole thing, supposedly. All right, so, and that's not taxable. So we're going to go ahead. If you're ready to send this to your client, you're going to go save and send. Obviously, this isn't going to actually allow me to save and send. By the way, I didn't even mention that. This is all sample data. So don't think that I'm like airing out people's business, because this is just a sample company that QuickBooks allows me to use for illustration purposes. So all of the stuff in here is fake. So you go in here, say whatever you want to say to your client, and then send and close. Obviously can't send it for me just because it's a sample company, and this is an illustration. But all right, so that is that. So we just created the new invoice. Okay, so then you will be able to see, once that person paid it and everything, even before they pay it, we can see what is owed to us. So, oops, it's not going to be on the profit and loss, it's going to be on the balance sheet. So I'll have a, I'm going to have a report out there for you. Here we go. So I'll have a report out there for you and build this for you. So all you have to do is click, or what we can even do too is have it automatically send to you every week, every month, whatever type of cadence you want. If you want this to regularly review, we can absolutely set that up. So here we can see, if we had multiple clients that had retainers, we can see the balance of everybody's retainers on this line. So if we've got Sammy Jones, we've got Sally Brown, and it would go ahead and name everybody along here. Why don't we just do that? We'll go ahead and do that. So we collected a deposit from Sammy Jones, and now we're also going to collect a prepayment. So we're going to have Sally Brown. We'll have Sally Brown, and hers is going to be sally@gmail.com, and her address is going to be that Brown Street. Also happens to live in Princeton, New Jersey, because why not? And yeah, we'll go ahead and save that. So from Sally, we're gonna do, it's still gonna be the same product/service. Like I said, it's probably not, we're probably not gonna have a // multiple line thing for you for under product/service. But whatever this is for you, this is what it'll be. And then description. This time I'm gonna illustrate a prepayment for Sally Brown. So this is gonna be, we're gonna charge her for a lamp, and we know that the lamp cost us, the interior design firm, $1,000, and we know that we're gonna mark it up 100%, and we know that it's gonna be 8% tax out here. So we're gonna say, so this is, what'd I say, 2K we're going to charge for the lamp. 2K plus 8% tax. So what we can do, this is kind of a cool thing of QuickBooks, you can say 2,000 times 1.08. So that 1.08 is going to be 2,000 plus 8% tax, and it automatically calculates it for you. So 8% of 2,000 is $160. So we're going to collect $160, and that will cover the 2K plus 8% tax. So this is going to be the lamp. We're going to make sure that tax is unchecked, which I set this up incorrectly on this illustration just because I was doing it really quick and I forgot to uncheck the tax box. So you're not going to have to uncheck anything. Just make sure that you don't check the tax and that you include the tax on the actual line item when you're collecting a customer prepayment. All right, so $21.60 is going to be that amount. We're going to go ahead and send this over to Sally, and Sally's going to pay it. So, excellent. So then here, when we look at the retainer, we can see Sally Brown, we can see Sammy Jones, and you're going to have all of the dates and all the activities, so it works very nicely. So we've got Sammy Jones has the retainer, Sally Brown has the prepayment. So, all right, we showed the report. What's next? We're going to create purchase orders now. So, all right, let's keep on going with Sally Brown. So, Sally Brown, we are going to go ahead and create a purchase order because we have the cash from our client, and so now we are ready to actually put in the order. So let's see, this is going to be, we're going to put in a new vendor. It's going to be called ABC Lamps. And depending on how you send your purchase orders, or whether you even send your purchase orders, you can customize the way that you, or like the information that you put in here. I'm going to assume that we're going to put, that we are going to email the purchase order to ABC Lamps. So this is going to be info@abclamps.com. And yeah, like I said, put in as much or as little information here as you want, depending on how you want to keep your records. So we'll go ahead and save that. And we are going to make sure that we put the ship to address correctly in here, assuming that you're going to ship it to either a receiver or to your customer directly. Whatever address that you're putting in here, you should definitely make sure that you are putting in the right address. So we are going to assume, we're going to say that our customer is Amy's Bird Sanctuary today. So Amy, oh wait, hold on. All right, actually our customer was, I forgot that our customer is Sally Brown. Sally Brown was the one who ordered the lamp. So as you can see, we're going to make sure that the lamp gets sent to Sally Brown. Like I said, if there's a receiver or anything else, we want to make sure that the shipping address is correct. If we're sending this off to an actual, if we're emailing this to our supplier. So, all right, the next thing is that under product and service, the temptation a lot of the time is for people, designers, to get too granular with the product/service. We don't want every single possible item that you sell to be in here. What we want is that this is going to be kind of a broad category. So lamps is broad-ish, but what I would probably do, honestly, is have a product/service that says like furniture. Lighting is maybe more broad. I don't even know if lamp technically qualifies for furniture, but what I want is I want furniture, or like product versus service. So like if you're billing for your design fee versus an actual product, that would be a great distinction. Basically what we have is that we aren't tracking inventory. You don't have a warehouse of lamps that you are responsible for. And that's where kind of the product/service can be helpful, is when you have actual inventory sitting around. But realistically, we just want to simplify this category here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a product. So it's going to be non-inventory because like I said, we do not have a warehouse full of lamps that we're tracking. under non-inventory, it is a tangible item, but it's something that we don't need to or can't track quantities of. So we don't need to track the number of lamps that we have on hand. We don't need to track the number of products that we have on hand unless that's part of your business model. As of right now, I don't have any clients that that's the case for, I don't think. So I'm just going to make a product thing. So the income account is going to be sales of product income. We sell this to our customers. We also purchase this from vendors. And we the expense account can be kind of anything, but we're going to go ahead and make this cost of goods sold. And yeah, I mean, this can kind of vary. This is just going to kind of like pre-fill in the information. So if you wanted to like make a lamps product and you only buy lamps from a certain, you only buy lamps from ABC Lamps, you can put it in your preferred vendor. It makes it a little bit easier, kind of streamlines things, but yeah, I mean, you can kind of set this up however you want. What I just want to caution you from is having a long list of products / services that make it nearly impossible to like navigate. So we're gonna go ahead and save and close that. So this description is going to be, well, it's going to be a blue lamp that we're going to sell her. And what did I say? We're going to sell it, or we're purchasing it from, this is the purchase order, we're purchasing it from ABC Lamps for $1,000. That's what the price of this lamp is, $1,000. And we're going to make sure that the right customer is in there. So this was Sally Brown was the customer. Put in whatever information you want to put in there, and that is that. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to make sure I check my notes. Customers filled out. Okay, sweet. So save and close. And like I said, make sure that you're sending that to your vendor however you choose, if you're sending that specific thing to your vendor at all. So now what we're going to do is show you how to find a report. This again is something that we can look at on a regular basis, but so this is going to be called Open Purchase Order List. So we can see that we have a purchase order for ABC Lamps for $1,000, and that hasn't been closed yet. And we're going to go ahead and actually we'll do another purchase order. Purchase order for what was the other guy's name that I called him? Sammy Jones. So for Sammy Jones, he's having a living room redesign, I think we did. So we're gonna purchase a sofa. So this is gonna be from ABC Sofas, related entities, I'm sure. So we'll do info@abcsofas.com. Awesome. And this is a product that is being sold to us. The description is, it's going to be a Paisley one. Everybody loves some Paisley sofa, don't they? And this is going to be, it's going to be $2,000 that we're ordering. And we want to make sure, again, that this is connected to our customer. So in this case, our customer is Sammy Jones, who has paid us a $10,000 retainer for this living room redesign. So we're going to save that and close it, and then we will see that we have an outstanding PO for ABC Sofas as well. Great. Okay, I'm going to pause this here because I think I forgot to set one thing up, and I'll be right back. All right, I am back. I just need to make sure that the markups settings were correctly in there, because we want to make sure that we are marking things up when we are selling products. So, all right, here's the situation. We've collected a prepayment from Sally Brown, we've collected a retainer from Sammy Jones, and now we've put in purchase orders for each client. Sally purchased a lamp, and Sammy is in the middle of a living room redesign. So that's our situation. So now what happens is that we're going to assume that ABC Lamps has given us their approval. They have said, yes, we accept your order. So what we're going to do is that we are going to navigate to that purchase order, and we are going to now create a bill. So basically what a bill does is that it gives us the notice that the vendor has accepted our purchase order and they are going to ship it. But what we want to make sure that we're doing is tracking and making sure that we're tracking like that this money is going to be coming out of our bank account. And you can't do that from a purchase order, but you can do that from a bill. And the reason is that the purchase order is an order. It's not a certainty yet. So any edits or anything that you need to do, like if the vendor comes back to you and says, oh, you know what, actually the price has changed, or actually we're out of stock of that thing, or whatever it might be, you can make any edits to the purchase order. But once you copy it to the bill, that means that that is like locked in, right? So you are on the hook for paying for that thing once it ships. So we're going to say ABC Lamps has accepted our purchase order. We're going to go copy to bill. And then let's say, for example, for whatever reason, you actually had ordered 2 blue lamps, but they only have 1 in stock, or we'll just assume they only have 1 in stock. I'm not sure why that would be, but that's what it is. So you've ordered 2 blue lamps. What you're going to do is copy to bill, and then you can adjust the quantity or the pricing, or I guess you can adjust the quantity here. And so then that way you can like make sure that like from the purchase order, if only part of the purchase order has been accepted and moves forward, then you can make sure that you're only recognizing like that you are on the hook for certain things, like based on the portion of the purchase order that's been accepted. I honestly don't know how common that is in the interior design world, but I just wanted to point that out in case that happens to anybody, that you still have an outstanding purchase order, but only part of the purchase order was accepted for whatever reason. All right, so what we're going to do is we've accepted the purchase order, or the ABC Lamps has accepted the purchase order. We clicked copy to bill up in the top here, and it created a bill. So what we're going to do is make sure that this is all correct, which it is because it copied directly from there. And what we're going to do is make sure that this is billed to our client. I put a default markup of 50%. I think we're assuming in this case it's going to be 100% markup. And it's also going to be taxed. However, we're not purchasing this item with tax. So it's only going to be, it shows that the sales amount that we're going to be sending to our client is $2,000, which it was according to what we collected as the prepayment. And then we have a checkbox for tax, which means that tax will be added onto it, which we added onto the tax when we collected the prepayment. But that doesn't show here, it just shows tax, which is fine, and you'll see in a little bit. All right, so you want to make sure that the customer is in there, Sally Brown. Sales amount looks right. You're selling that to Sally Brown for 100% markup for $2,000 is the purchase price. So we're going to go ahead and click save. And however you pay that bill, you know, if you're, I feel like generally the vendor has your payment information, your credit card on file or whatever it is, and they'll pay it out when need be. Otherwise, if you're writing a check or whatever it is, like you can do that. I normally just click save. Not very many people are doing the online payment, but if you want to pay your bills online from QuickBooks Online, that's an option. Alrighty, so this has been saved, and we've made sure that Sally Brown is on the hook for this blue lamp. And now we're also going to do, alright, we had another, I want to point out before we move on, I want to point out that this had ABC lamps on here, but since we copied all that information to the bill, it is not on there anymore because the purchase order has closed, and now it is an order that is in process that will be shipped. So we no longer have an open purchase order, we have a closed purchase order, and instead a bill. So now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with the nice paisley sofa that we have selected for Sammy Jones. So we're going to go ahead and click copy to bill. And let's see, we're going to say product paisley couch, rate, amount. We're going to make sure that this is billable. We're going to leave the 50% markup. If you remember, we just charged Sammy Jones a retainer of 10%, or not 10%, of $10,000. So this is just going to go against his retainer. So markup 50%, $3,000. This is a taxable purchase since it is a, Sammy is purchasing product from us, so we want to make sure that we're charging sales tax, so it's going to be taxable. And we're going to click go ahead and save. And as you can see on this, no more ABC sofas either, which means that the purchase order has been closed. And instead, what we can do is see that there is it's going to show up under accounts payable. So we will see, we're going to see that we owe ABC lamps $1,000 and ABC sofas $2,000. And that's based on the outstanding amounts. So we're waiting on the sofa to ship, we're waiting on the lamp to ship, we're waiting on those vendors to charge us. And in the meantime, we are remembering that we have $3,000 that's going to be eventually coming out of our bank account. So one thing that I forgot about is that we are going to have probably some shipping costs. So what we're going to do is make sure that, let's see, we're going to go to the bill that we have open, and we're going to pretend that, what am I doing? I wanted to sort this by vendor. Okay. So we're going to pretend that ABC lamps actually also had a shipping cost that that we didn't know when we did the purchase order, and we didn't know when we charged the client. So what we're going to do is set up a shipping item, which I should have already set up for you. It's going to be shipping. No, I'm going to just call this as a product. So generally shipping isn't taxable, so I'm going to make sure that it's not taxable here. So shipping, that's going to be shipping, it's it doesn't really matter, so we're just gonna not even put in a thing, put in a description. Shipping on this blue lamp is going to be $100, and we're going to make sure that this also is billable. We're going to say that we don't actually do a markup for our sales or for our shipping, and this is billable to Sally Brown also. So we're going to go ahead and save that. So this was, we kind of rewound a little bit, and this was the step of when we took the purchase order and converted it to a bill. We added the product, and we're adding the shipping because that's what's going to be due from us to ABC Lamps. And you just want to make sure that this bill reflects the amount that's going to come out from ABC Lamps. So we're going to go ahead and save that. So altogether, it's from us to ABC Lamps, it's going to be $1,000 for the lamp and then $100 for shipping. So now where are we at? We're at we have money from our clients, we've now ordered, and we're about to pay for the products. And now what we want to do is make sure that it's not just that money is coming out of our own pocket. What we want to make sure is that we're applying the client's retainer / prepayment and make sure that that goes towards the bill. You know, goes towards the payment to ABC Lamps or ABC Sofas. So what we're going to do is go to New and Invoice. And also, in the case of ABC Lamps, we now have a shipping charge that we actually didn't have before because we didn't know what exactly the shipping was going to cost. So that was to Sally Brown. And so you're going to have a thing that pops up on the side over here, which shows that the expenses that we connected to Sally Brown. It will not show up if you do not tag your customer in that section on the bill. So you want to make sure that you're always thinking about selecting the correct customer on that section. So we're going to go ahead and add these two things. And you see here that your customer won't see this description. So like they're not going to see the line items like this, where they're going to see that you paid $1,000 for the lamp and that you're charging them a 100% markup. They're not going to see that. All they're going to see is $2,000 on this line here. And then $100 shipping that we added. So well, shipping's not taxable, so we're gonna make sure that that is unchecked there. I think I might have messed that up on the bill. All right, so let's review. We've got $2,000 for the lamp, $100 for the shipping. We've got a taxable subtotal for $2,000, and we have sales tax of 8%, which is $160. So all in all, it's $2,260. But we don't want to charge our client $2,260 because if you remember, we actually have a prepayment from them for $2,160. So unfortunately, this is like the one step that's a little bit annoying that QuickBooks doesn't make very easy. That what you're going to have to do is go and make sure what the outstanding balance is, or like the outstanding prepayment that you have from this client. And you're going to go ahead and put negative $2,160. That's the amount that the client prepaid. And that's not taxable. So that way the balance due is $100, and that's because we did not charge for the $100 of shipping. So we want to make sure that the client pays for the $100 of shipping. We want to make sure that their prepayment goes against this lamp amount, and then we are good. And we'll re-illustrate this with the retainer as well. So let's see. Yep, all is good, all is good. $100. We're gonna save and send to our client, which obviously, again, our client is not real, so it's gonna say email not sent on this, but it'll send up for you. So we can now go back to that other report that we were looking at, and previously where it had, let's see, previously where it had, it had a balance of $21.60 for Sally Brown. Now it's at 0 because we can see that we collected $21.60 from her originally, and then we applied that $21.60 to her payment, to her, like, to the payment of the actual lamp. So we sent her a final invoice of $22.60, which included a $100 shipping charge, and that was her final invoice for the lamp. I hope that makes sense. Like I said, this is a little bit stream of consciousness, but this is not a professionally produced training video. Okay, next one. So we're gonna finish out Sammy Jones. So Sammy Jones, remember, we currently have a balance of $10,000 in his retainer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the search function on here is really nice. So we know that it was called Paisley. I think I forgot to put sofa on the actual thing. So we see the bill here. That was Paisley sofa, $2,000. So we're gonna go ahead and invoice our client. Time to invoice Sammy Jones. All right, so right now we have a $3,000 Paisley sofa. And again, remember that your client isn't going to see this amount here, or like the 2 line items. They're not going to see your markup. They're only going to see $3,000 in this line here. So since this was a taxable purchase, there's $240 of tax. And remember, we've already charged Sammy Jones a retainer, and so we don't want to send him an invoice for $32.40. What we want is to apply the retainer, and we're going to do negative, oops, I'm going to do this here, negative $32.40. So that way, oh, not taxable, that's why. So negative $32.40, so that way the balance due is $0. We're going to go ahead and click Save and Send. Send and close. And now, and now we can see that the outstanding retainer that we have for Sammy Jones is $67.60 after the purchase of the Paisley sofa. So I hope this is helpful. If there's any other aspect that I'm missing or specific question that you have, please let me know. Yeah, 47 minutes. I hope this video saves. Yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know. I am super happy to help, and I did not spend a absolute ton of time making this perfectly planned. So it's a high possibility that there are aspects that I missed or nuances that I missed. So please feel free to send your questions.